What up, what up? This is Chris Rivers, Dragons Up, and you are listening to Molly G and B-Side Radio. Yeah.
Yo, this be your boy Lamborghini Law, a.k.a. Money Block Lamb, and I'm keeping it locked and loaded with my nigga Molly G, B-Side Radio, Heat DJs, the hottest DJs, the only DJs breaking records. You dig?
Yo, it's your boy Rampage, First Lieutenant of the Universal Flip Mode Squad, CEO of the Heat DJs. You checking out the #1 internet station in Cashville. That is B-Side Radio. I said it, B-Side Radio, with my brother Marley G. We official. Land to land, sea to sea, state to state. We coming. It's time to transform.
B-Side. 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 Hey, what's up, everybody? You are tuning into What About Us with Sydney Kane from St. Louis, Missouri. Born and raised, the show me state for sure. And, I came up with this idea actually about 3 years ago. And a lot of people have been waiting to hear what it is that I have to say. And I know What About Us is pretty broad and general, but I'm going to streamline it a little bit and let you know what I meant when I decided to start this mission. Some stories of my life. A lot of this is about being vulnerable and transparent. So how can I expect any of my upcoming guests to be vulnerable and transparent if I can't be vulnerable and transparent? So I'll start with just a little bit. I'm going to give you a teaser today. I come from a family of 7. We lived in Ferguson, Missouri. I went to Ferguson Middle and McClure High School. Everybody in St. Louis always want to say, what high school did you go to? Where are you from, the Lou? What high school did you go to? I went to McClure High School. And I'm the oldest of the 7. I have 5 sisters and then 1 brother. So we were all raised in one household with my mom and my stepdad. We moved into the county so that we didn't have to continue the desegregation program. But there was still a lot of issues dealing with race during that time. I had a lot of it. So I tried to be ahead of the game. I was an athlete, ran track. And, everything that I did because I wanted to be really good at it. I wanted to make a change. And so from Ferguson and high school, got married at 19, which was very early to get married. Some of you are thinking about it right now. Give yourself some time, think about it. Get to know yourself. You don't want to jump into a marriage at 19, but I did. And I had my first child at 20. And then from there, got divorced a couple of years later. Always have been raised up in the church, and religion was a very powerful part of my life. Spirituality was even stronger. And yes, those two are different. Spirituality and religion is different. But, we were taught how to survive. We weren't taught how to live. And in that, growing up in Ferguson, Missouri, and St. Louis, Missouri, period, you have that stigma. You have racism. You have, as you know, Mike Brown a few years back. And I won't touch on all of that because my point and purpose is to bring up something that we really don't like to talk about. And I'll just put it out there, and it's post-traumatic slavery disorder. And folks, it's a real disease. It really is. When you talk about things that are uncomfortable, when you wake up feeling depressed or you waking up feeling sad and don't even know why, a lot of it comes from your cultural background, and it's been built into your DNA. A lot of things we were taught to hide and a lot of things we were taught to not speak about. So then that brought in other issues. But, I'm learning. I'm still learning. And I like I said, I built this platform because I really want it to be a platform with What About Us. What About Us is just speaking on things that we normally don't want to talk about, things that we sweep under the rug. There's always that one black sheep in the family that they say, oh, well, we gonna just not worry about her. She gonna be all right, or he gonna be all right. Addicts. We got all of it. Everybody's family is facing it. Being the eldest in my family, I had to be a role model, the oldest of 6 children, and trying to make sure that they didn't suffer certain things or the things that they did see, making sure that it didn't really affect them. But all of my life, being politically correct is what I've tried to do. My message. I don't want my message to be misunderstood because the world has not been kind to me. But I'm ready to give the world me. Done the best that I can as a woman. But, I got a little something to get off my chest. That's today. Oh, I'm done with black women. I don't ever want to deal with a black woman again. My sisters is messed up. All they want to do is lay on their back for money and trick men out of money. And, that's what they really want. They don't want a real good man. Well, hold up. Wait a minute. Did you check your slave history facts? Slave history was the prettiest, light-skinned, long-haired, fairest, beautiful woman put up on the slave trade for sale, went first at the highest rate. Sold for sex, my friend, of having kids. That is not something that is out of our DNA. So when the black man getting all mad, I get it. I'm this right here. But I understand when women feel like they've been dumbed down to nothing but selling a body. But I see it through my history. My history showed me that shit. So when you talk about what do we do out here? What about us? What about our culture? What about our slave history? What about it? Don't sit and brush it under the table. Tell me the truth about the Moors that really was kings and queens here in this country before Christopher Columbus. I'm just saying, it's a lot to talk about, but, when you're raised in a household where religion is your first choice because you've been forced a certain religion, you don't understand your spirit. You don't understand the depths of your soul. So yes, excuse me, folks, that I might get a little deep on you, but that's where my creativity comes from. Black folks were able to take it through the Harlem Renaissance. We were able to take our history and turn it into some of the most beautiful music you ever heard in your life. So, don't think about it when you're saying to yourself, why am I doing this? Think about you're doing it because you're trying to get your message heard to the world. And however way you find that message, your creativity, I encourage you to do it. But don't forget your passion. Don't forget your mission. Don't forget your history. And then tell your story. Don't be ashamed of your story. Don't be ashamed that you may have been raped or molested as a child and now you an adult man or adult woman don't really know. Because they looked at me, they said, Sid, you go hard. You go really hard, man. You grind so hard. But I stayed focused. I focused all of my energy into my work. But that came from another place as well, because I was abused early in my life. When I was 3 years old, somebody touched me. It happened. And I'm at 48 now, able to really understand the impact of my life and what happened and how everything that I did up until this point was to create ways for other kids or for someone else to join the platform. I don't know what your story is, but I encourage you. Reach out. This is a free form. You want to tell your story. You got some truth you want to get off. But let's end with a testimony. My testimony is this. I created an early child educational program through my abuse. And that impacts lives. That changes lives. That not only teaches children how to read, but it engages the parents through rhythm and rhyme. I got some of the top producers to produce my kids' music, like Craig King. I've been blessed, to meet some of these great producers that felt that my story was passionate enough for them to bring their music to the table. So for that, I'm thankful. But I am letting you know that don't give up on what you've been through. Don't call it out. You know what I'm saying? Don't give up on your mission and your journey, because if you were born into this world and you woke up this morning, guarantee there's a purpose for your life. And somebody else needs to hear your story so that you save another life. So that's what this What About Us is about. You know what I'm saying? It's for you to get out there and share your story and save lives. And at the end and the beginning of the day, I'm just here to set the record straight for those that want to talk about situations and issues in their lives that they didn't have a place to speak on. I went through a lot of abuse growing up. I went through a lot of trauma growing up, even in my adult life. Unless I change my environment, I am not going to be able to change the way that I think, change the way that I deal with those things that happened to me in my life. So, I'm not going to give you all of it today, but I got a story to tell for sure. And just like my little brother, he's out, big ups to him, champion, and a champion of life, living, and taking his skill and making it into a career, such as so many other people in the world have done. And then there are the ones that are still making it in life. And those are the people that I want to appeal to, the ones that are still grinding and hustling every day, working on that music or working on writing or raising their children. And they have a message or a story to tell, but there is no platform for them to tell their story. Well, this is why I've started What About Us? So that we don't forget about the people that sustain and hold us together as a family. Because you still have, certain levels of income. You have the lower level of income, and then you have the middle income and the high bracket income. We're looking from a lower perspective at the high bracket income, but we have the ones that are sustaining it in the middle. And I just kind of want to get into a comfortable zone with you and speak on issues where you can take where you are, use your gift and what your trauma has taken you to, and create something great to change the world. We do it through songwriting, we do it through art, we do it through music, some do it through rap, and then you have people that don't know how to manage that energy, and they may do it through killing, they may do it through anger, they may do it through child molestation, I don't know. But it's all about energy and how we take what we've gone through and our trauma and how we translate it to the rest of the world. So this show may be a little deep for some, but for those that want to tune in, I would hope that, I inspire you to share your story. I know I didn't give you much about me. I gave you a little bit, so hopefully next week you can stay tuned in. But there has been a lot of trauma. And in that trauma, I've decided to start a childhood obesity prevention program. I've been a personal trainer for 20 years. I'm also an author of children's books where I'm using rhythm and rhyme to help increase cognitive reading skills. But the back door to that is to help the parents, caregivers, and young parents learn how to teach their children how to read. This is not about ridicule or me telling my story and woe is me, or anyone that decides to come on and share their story. It's about me taking what has happened into my life and transferring my pain into my passion. That's what I did. I took my pain and I transferred it into my passion. And through that, I created ways for other people to heal. I don't think that we've taken enough time as a culture of people to heal. That's the most important thing. We are forgetting that we are living in a society that everything is moving so fast, and there's so much responsibility on getting it done, staying ahead. But we have to pause for a minute and take time to heal as a culture of people, because that's going to be very important for us to reverse the cycle that has cost us these ailments. When a child is born with their parents' genes, you have what your parents have. Basically, you have blue eyes, brown eyes, red hair, brown hair, light skin, dark skin. We're forgetting that our genetics also affect our emotions, our mental state. So if you have a parent that's dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder or any kind of trauma, and this parent is giving birth to a child, I'm speaking about the mother giving birth to the child, then that's passed on to the baby. And we've not stopped to think about that. We want to have a family, but stop for a minute. Take time to look at, are you really prepared mentally, emotionally, and definitely, are you prepared financially? Because if you're not even prepared financially, you're going to have emotional trauma with raising a child. You're going to have, some mental health issues because you're going to deal with more than you need to when raising children. But I will say that it's common sense. It's common sense when you think about how we are exposed to certain things in our environment. It's called natural selection. You are exposed to certain things in your environment that changes who you are as a person. To understand that in moving forward, to try to rebuild a culture or at least start to build a culture that wakes up every morning loving themselves. We haven't done that yet. Our culture don't wake up saying, hey, I'm proud to be black. We may say it, but do we really feel it? When your child puts his feet on the ground, does he really feel like they have an opportunity in the world? Well, I'm speaking to the parents. You have that opportunity today. Share your story. Get something that is substance and viable to our culture that can give us the change that we need. We have not looked at it deep enough. And I hope in the next coming episodes, we're able to bring on professionals that can speak more about how our post-traumatic slavery disorder has affected our genetic coding, because it's real. People, it's real. It's not fabricated. And I'm not speaking, when I say this next statement, don't think that I'm speaking against religion or anything, because I know that our God, our creator, universal healer, whatever you choose to call your maker, can make anything, change anything. But we have to assume responsibility for ourselves and look at, we have got to get to the core problem in our culture. And we can't skip over it. We can't make religion skip over it. And we definitely can't blame other cultures for being successful at it. We have to look at it and adapt ourselves to the change that we need to make. So, that's sort of where I'm at with it. But I also want you to know that we have a little edutainment with this, because I'm a songwriter. I love music. I've worked in the studio with a few people. It inspires me when I can see an artist go in and take some sound that they just kind of hear in the air, put it on a track, and then bring in a vocalist and a writer, and it all comes together, and that language becomes music, which is the only language we know that reaches everybody. So I cannot get off the mic without a little music. And, so this show will be about What About Us, but we'll have artists here expressing through whether it's poetry, music, rap. We'll have art, but more importantly, it'll be a safe place for you to share your story. So I'm very much so concerned about my culture and my people. I don't want this show to be biased. I want it to be a place where I know my culture needs to have a space to speak on matters so dear and personal to the heart and not be judged on it, and being able to take it and transfer it into their passion. So that's a little bit about What About Us. I had the pleasure of meeting some great entertainers. Big ups to Sid Entertainer from St. Louis. He speaks so much comedy, but he speaks on real life changes. The man's story is amazing, and would love to have them come on the show and tell their story and What About Us in that sense, because you see them now making this money, but you don't know really where their story came from. So I would like to be that platform and, giving you guys an opportunity to just tune in, check us out. Let me know what you think. Until next time.
B-side. B-side. B-side.